Guys, welcome back. I hope everybody is enjoying the weekend in good health. It seems like just yesterday when we took delivery of the ROLEX Submariner 41mm reference number 124060. Man, this thing has been absolutely amazing. But having said that, for all you guys that like bourbon, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a cheer. So I recently took a tour at the Bowman Brothers Distillery in Virginia, and this small batch is extremely smooth. For you guys that are not into bourbon, it's not really a big deal. But for those of you that are, I'm going to give you guys a slight little pour. And of course, little cheer. Cheers to the weekend, good health, friends, and family. My God, that is smooth. Highly recommend it. If you guys get a chance, Bowman Brothers, small batch, that's the one you want. But before we begin, I got to give a special thanks to Kiva from Rockwell Jewelers. He's been in the business for over 2 decades, one of my dear close friends, and he branched out and started Rockwell Jewelers about a year ago. So many of you guys have asked, where do I source my watches and my custom jewelry? Well, that is where. If you'd like to see the interview of Rockwell Jewelers, I'll put up here in the top right, and that will tell you the whole story how I obtained this watch in 2018 from the AD, which was Kiva at the time. Man, this is where it all started. So back then, this was, believe it or not, the root beer was my first Rolex. I mean, yeah, talking about jumping right to the top, right? Well, I wouldn't say the top, but this is typically not your first Rolex. So I guess you could say, in a sense, I was spoiled. But since then, I worked my way through the GMT Master 2 collections as best I could. I went to the Black GMT Master 2, and this is before they came out in the Jubilee. And we'll discuss that in a few minutes as far as my predictions on 2024, which I was wrong, but slightly right. And then I worked my way to the GMT Master 2 Pepsi. Again, this was also sourced from Kiva. And eventually I decided I want to try something a little bit different, which finally the 41mm sub came into play. So you're going to question yourself, how did you go from all this to the 41mm sub? Trial and error, like many of us, trying to decide what we like and don't like. Also, what is the purpose of the watch? So let's put a few things out there. I've been into watches since the calculator Casio watch in the early 80s. Yes, I'm dating myself. I got to bring that up because I'm not buying these watches to flaunt, show off, so on and so on. If you guys know me personally, especially the way I dress pretty low key. I wear these watches for me, to congratulate my success for where I've been, and also for the fact I just love watches. I mean, I love G-Shocks as well. I still have my very first watch. Actually, I'm going to show it to you right now. My very first watch that I bought when I was 17 years old. Okay? 17. This was my first luxury watch. Right here. And this is a Seiko. Battery operated. It's still in pristine condition. Right? This was purchased in 1993. Obviously, I can't wear this watch anymore. Look how small this watch is, right? Look at this. But it just goes to show how long have I been into watches and how much have I appreciated those. Horology is something that's been a passion of mine, again, since the calculator watch back in the early 80s. If you guys remember that watch, let me know. But yes, I will forever keep this, and this will go absolutely nowhere. Just wanted to point that out there, because some people are like, well, man, you know, a lot of people are buying these watches to show off, so on and so on. I'm buying these watches because I absolutely love horology. And it's not just Rolex, obviously. I love all kinds of brands as well. But for today, we're going to be discussing Rolex, in specific, the 41mm sub. So this is the history of how I got to this point. I used to have a 43mm Sea Dweller, and I sold that watch. And, well, actually, it wasn't sold, it was traded. And some people would say, why in the world would you do that? Some people thought I was absolutely nuts for getting rid of that watch. But at the end of the day, if I have any watch in my collection where it doesn't feel comfortable, where I don't have a connection with the watch, then I just don't want it. I understand the values are crazy, but I have to have something that I appreciate that I'm comfortable wearing, that I absolutely have a connection with. Case in point, the root beer. This will absolutely, no matter how much money, it won't go anywhere. This is my engagement watch. This is my first Rolex. It's staying in the collection, and it won't be going anywhere. As far as the Pepsi, this is something that I've absolutely fallen in love with as well. I can't say that I have the same connection with this as I do the root beer, obviously, for the reasons I just mentioned. But I worked my way to the 41mm after trading in the 43 sub. Don't kill me now. For the black GMT, and this was a couple years back. Ever since then, I missed the 43mm sub. I mean, a Sea Dweller. I do apologize. The 43mm Sea Dweller, and that was the anniversary edition. And no crown. Didn't have a crown at 6 o'clock. And ever since then, I've been telling myself, all right, I want to get back into that watch. But to be honest with you, that watch was wearing very big for its size. My wrist size is about a 7 3/4, almost an 8-inch wrist size, right? So it did fit pretty good, but as much as I like to wear my watches, it felt kind of heavy on the wrist. Now, having said that, whew, that was my fault. Absolutely my fault. I wore that watch to, what was it? Hershey Park at the time. And went on a bunch of rides, had it all on my wrist all day. And I decided with immaturity and not enough experience that watch was too heavy, and that watch was sold. From that day forward, I wanted something a little bigger than the GMT Master 2s. And then 2020, they came out with the 41mm no date sub. At the time, I didn't think it was going to be big enough. I really didn't. I thought, okay, well, it's just 1mm. It's not going to make that much of a difference. I already have a couple GMT Masters. Maybe I should go back to the 43. Then I did some more research, and I realized it actually does wear bigger than a traditional 40mm sub. A lot of people were saying there's not much of a difference. I think where the confusion is when you compare them side by side, and especially if you have ownership of both. You guys let me know. Right, I have to do the GMT Master 2 as a comparison because I don't have a 41mm sub here. But I believe the cases are the same, right? A maxi case as far as the lugs. So if you guys have a 40mm sub and a 41 no date, you let me know as ownership if you notice a big difference. I do. I notice a difference between the case sizes of these two and how they wear it. And obviously the bracelets, right? This is obviously much bigger. We all know that. But wearing this watch, I definitely notice a difference. I want to say the weight, it's almost the same as a GMT Master 2 root beer with two-tone rose gold. And this is stainless steel. It's about the same. Which is, I didn't expect that. Now, is that a big deal? Absolutely not. It does not change my appreciation for this watch. This is one of the watches that I wear the absolute most. Now, I did find something that I considered a Rolex defect. I want to get your guys' opinions on it. Now take a good look. Let me know if you can see it. Press pause in the video. Search the dial, search the bezel. Let me know if you can see it. All right, I'm going to point it out right now. Right here. It is not lined up at 12 o'clock. Do you see it? So let's just turn the bezel all the way over. Make sure it's not just me. Again, this is not a big deal, but it really threw me off at first. All right, that's one click over. Obviously, right now, it's not lined up, right? So we click it over, just one click. And you would think right now it should be lined up. But take a closer look. This is slightly off to the left. Taking a closer look at your 9 o'clock, look right here. You'll see that the alignment is off. It's a little lower on the left, and it's almost even on the right. Now, at first, I was a little concerned. I was like, what is going on here? Let me know if you guys have noticed this. Now, this is nothing new. In the Submariner world, this has been notated numerous times. But from my research that I've done, it's hit or miss. There are some 124060 watches where the alignment is perfect, and there are some that are not. Now, if you jump back to the reference number of 114060, the previous model, it's same thing. The photos that I've looked from reputable places that are selling these watches, it's hit or miss, but it looks like from the photos that I've seen, more of the 114060s, the alignment is better. But with the 124060, it seems like it's more common so far from my research where the bezel and alignment is slightly off. Now there is a little bit of play. See if you can see this. It clicked over. But there is a little bit of play, which you should have in your bezel, right? Having said that, I don't think it's a huge deal for me, but my eye is starting to catch it a little more and a little more. If you look at the GMT Master 2s, it is pretty much spot on at the 12 o'clock. And the same with this. Now, obviously, this is a different model, but it looks spot on. So when I first noticed this, you can imagine this was driving me a little batty. I just didn't understand what was going on. But you can see that alignment is off. Now, obviously, I clicked it all the way over, so let's see this one more time. All right, one more click, and take a close look. It's still off. Usually you can tell right at the 9 o'clock how it's slightly lower. And I did take a loop to this for anybody that's wondering, and I can still tell that it's off. But again, not all 124060s 41mm are like this. It is kind of 50 or 50. So if you do have this problem, and you bought this from a reputable place, I don't think you obviously have a fake watch. I just think this is a defect from Rolex, what apparently from my research is not uncommon. But that is one thing that absolutely threw me off. Other than that, the experience of ownership of this watch, aside from really realizing how much bigger this watch wears for me compared to a 40 or compared to the GMT Master 2s, has been amazing. I find myself wearing this watch more than any other watch that I have. I do have other watches in the collection, but unfortunately, for security reasons and where my insurance forces me to keep my watches, and which I don't blame them, I have to go back and forth to the bank, so I don't get a chance to review these watches as much as I'd like. Having said that, I think that wearing this as a daily, as a 41mm is great with a wrist size of almost 8 inches. Now, if you have a wrist size that's right around 7, this is going to wear big. In my opinion, if that's something you want, then go for it. You got to remember, this bracelet is definitely wear a lot bigger than your average Rolex bracelet. Just an example, if you're looking at the root beer, right? But this is commonly known by this point. I mean, this has been out now for, what, 4 years with a new model? But having said that, I just wanted to point out that problem that I found out with the bezel, which I was kind of shocked. So you guys let me know if this problem that we see, does your Submariner have the same alignment issue? And if it does, how did you get it resolved? And also let me know what you think. Is this something that you wear daily compared to your other watches? This could be, subject for a different video, a one and done watch. I mean, this is something you could dress up in and wear to work. Something you can wear in your daily use. Hell, I mean, I cut my grass with the root beer on. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you can see all the scratches. This watch has been worn and loved as it should be. I've worn this watch just about everywhere. Obviously, your safety is, is paramount, right? You got to be cautious of your surroundings. That goes without saying. And I'll be making another review on something they never talk about as far as these watches, and it's something you absolutely have to do when you buy any of these, whether it's from an authorized dealer or not. It's something you have to ask for. So stay tuned for that. Guys, like, share, subscribe, give me a huge thumbs up. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you at the next upload.